Okay, so this is the 16th video for the Jagdpanther tank destroyer, and we're just going to finish up the detailing before we move on to the suspension. So we're going to have to prepare some parts and let them dry before we can complete this entire step. I've got some little crescent shapes here, and the way I've made those is I just took some cereal box cardboard and my 3-ring hole punch, and I kind of just like munched and crunched along, just moving like a millimeter at a time, or approximately, and you'll get a whole bunch of these little crescent shapes. And choose the sort of smallest ones you get are generally the best. As long as you've got the whole crescent shape, you should be fine. And then, once you've got those, they come apart super easily. So you're going to want to infuse them with 4-to-1 glue, or 2-to-1 glue rather. And you can see, like, I'll infuse one side, hook it like this so it doesn't stick to the table, wait for it to dry, flip it over, infuse the other side. So it is a bit of a process getting these ready. There's also another part that you're going to want to get ready that's a round toothpick. And you're going to need also a few 20 or 2 centimeter long strips of just regular paper. Now the width doesn't matter very much, but I like to go with 4 or 5 millimeters in width because it's easier to work with. So what you're going to want to do is take the model and lay the round toothpick along it. You might want to sand the toothpick before actually using it. And you want to mark on the toothpick, if you can see this symbol here on the side of the vehicle, where these expansions happen at the ends. You could like carve this out of a bamboo skewer, but this is actually a lot easier in the end. So this is how I prefer to do it. So once you've got those marked, actually you might want to like really make them obvious, because sometimes you can cover them a little bit with the paper. So extend them about a little bit and make them dark marks. And then grab your little piece of paper, 2 centimeters long, and just, this is 2-to-1 glue here. Really watery glue, actually. It might be even weaker than 2-to-1. And put a generous amount on there. And just want to wrap the toothpick with this piece of paper. Expand the size of it and try to keep the edge toward the inside of the toothpick flush with itself. Like, it doesn't matter so much if this one wavers. You want to keep it even and lined up with that mark you made. And by having the glue on the piece of paper, should be fairly easy to just get it to wrap around and around and around, gluing to itself and to the toothpick. So repeat that again. And if you do end up with a little bit of extra glue, sometimes you can just kind of get it to roll ahead of where you're going, so you don't need glue all the way along, since you've kind of got a puddle rolling ahead of yourself as you roll the piece. And the 2 centimeters should provide you with approximately the correct thickness. So once you've made that and let it dry, just going to set this on up. It should be fairly easy to just estimate about 1.5 millimeters out from where this begins, as the template shows, and then just roll that under a fairly new scraper blade until it just pops off, and you should get a nice flat edge. It shouldn't be hard to make it the same on both sides. There we go. Yeah. And so once you've got that, then you want to create a spot for it on the vehicle. Where is my push pin? It's just using it. Okay, well, it's not necessary. What you want to do is you want to, where these blue marks are, that it's kind of shown holding this piece to the side of the vehicle, you want to take a scraper blade is the best kind of way to do this. Sort of insert it a little tiny bit below where that blue mark actually is. Just create like a slot. And within those slot, you're going to wedge your bit of crescent shape, but you're going to cut it in half first. So you actually only need one crescent shape for each vehicle. Now these can be a bit of a trial to get wedged in there. Going to have to probably make that fairly wide, and then once it is wide, they tend to just like fall out of there. So what you're going to have to do is sort of place a little bit of glue within the slot, and then quickly, it really helps to have either tweezers or needle nose pliers for this. Grab the piece, get it into the slot, and try to do them together as well, like so that you can match them. And then take a skewer or a round toothpick and just try to make them look fairly nice and even. And just smooth this area underneath them a little bit if it's been made ugly. And so once you have them like this, hopefully you can see about how much they're sticking out. Let those dry in place, and then you can put your little pipe shape, and it's being held on there, and just glue that into place. Simple, simple. The other thing you're going to need is a 5mm sphere of modeling clay. And this is actually pretty easy. So just take a little tiny piece of modeling clay and make as circular as possible, and just lay it on a ruler and make sure that it is between the 0 and 5mm mark, or only just a tiny bit is cresting over it. You want to take that sphere, and the best policy is to sort of put a little bit of glue on here. Actually, that is 2 to 1. I'm going to use some thicker glue than that even. Just kind of get some glue on there so that the modeling clay can actually make a bond with the paper, otherwise it just slips around and falls off. Put your sphere right on the side of the vehicle there. Just sort of work it with your fingers to try to get it nicely rounded. So you're trying to make a ball turret here. And take a skewer or something along those lines, and you can kind of go around the edges and sort of just roll it so that you actually get some contact between the modeling clay and the model in places that you can't reach well with your fingers. Now I'm using black modeling clay, so any inconsistencies you can see will be very, very obvious, but in the end it will mostly vanish into the model. Now this is very soft right now, so what you want to do is either use several layers of glue, like maybe 4, or another good way to do it, and stinky way, is to use nail polish. Nail polish will harden the same as 2 to 4 layers of glue with 1 layer, and with 2 layers it will be as hard as it needs to be. And it does accept glue over top of it and paint over top of it, so it's a good medium. Like it doesn't prevent you from continuing with the process. So get some hardener on there. And you can also slightly, after 1 layer of nail polish, you can slightly adjust its shape again if you need to. And you just want to take a bit of a skewer and cut about 7 millimeters, 6 millimeters. You just want to make a tiny little bit of wood. Semi-rounded. It doesn't have to be very round because it will round naturally when you put several layers of glue on here. And just push that in until there's about 4 millimeters of the piece of wood sticking out. And that is your machine gun. And it should be fairly close to the lower side of the ball. And that gets you to working on the, or not the suspension, but the track, and then the headlight. And we've got a Jagdpanther. Thanks for watching. See you guys soon.